Live and Learn podcast has consistently been with you for 4 seasons, 12 episodes each, with weekly topics focused on 4 pillars of our interest and competence. These include growth mindset, expat life, language acquisition, and skills development. In our bonus series, we are rebroadcasting top episodes dedicated to each of these 4 pillars of Live and Learn philosophy. So take a listen, enjoy, live and learn. Happy to see you. And as usual, I'm really curious about what you've learned this week.
That's a nice start of the podcast, sharing some kind of the things that overwhelmed us, stunned us, or somehow made an interesting and lasting impression. And one of the things that actually grabbed my attention was the new word. As you know, that's my passion to discover new words. And this time it was window swapping. What do you think window swapping is?
Window swapping. I can try to guess. And swapping a dirty window for a clean one. Swapping images of windows or what you see in the window with the neighbors opposite, in the house opposite here. Swapping. No other idea by now. What is it really?
It became a viral trend in the internet. The window swapping is a thing. It's an application or just like add-on in the browser. Normally it works on the mobile phones, on the cell phones, or handy, as German people call it. It's something that shows you the random windows all around the world. So more than 50,000 people downloaded it. So they recorded the windows and the window, what they can see out of the window from their own apartment or house, put it on the platform, and now you can just swipe one after another, seeing what other people can see without any people. So basically, yesterday I had to travel, in the lockdown time. It is very nice thing, when Schengen zone is still down and is going to be by the end of the August, at least. I had an opportunity to see a window in Hokusima in Japan, a window in Canarian Islands with getting dark and thunderstorm and, the trees going down to the bending down. And I saw a beautiful Japanese garden, almost still. And the next window swap I do, and there comes a lake in Norwegian landscape or something. So basically, and they all are part of the apartment. So you can see the window frame and the weather and where the sun is, the weather. It is so beautiful because just like in a couple of minutes, you're getting around so many places and you try to see who do you know from that place. What do you know about this culture? What is your impression? Is the sky clear or not? And it is quite a meditative thing because it doesn't have the time when it stops and it doesn't push you to go very quickly. So it's up to you to take your time and to enjoy one scene or another to the extent that you want to do this.
So it's kind of looking in other people's windows, actually.
From other people's windows. Just like you are staying in the virtual Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
You come for one night, you take what it is as an apartment, a landscape from the window, every 10-15 seconds.
I remember you sent a link to me and unfortunately I couldn't use it, but now you're telling this to me. I just think, okay, maybe it was better, because if it had worked, I would have spent all evening just scrolling and swiping and looking from other people's windows, imagining that I'm elsewhere.
It is fabulous thing because I shared it with a couple of friends on Facebook, and one of them told me that he would like to have a screensaver out of it. That would be a nice idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
But
Interesting.
actually, if we think about it, what makes such things go viral? Is it just the
No
curiosity of people looking from the way other people live, the way other people make their like part of their interior, part of the exterior? What is it? Is this curiosity?
I think both curiosity and dissatisfaction with the way you live at times, or a wish to put yourself into other people's shoes and seeing how you would feel there, an attempt to live other people's lives. Oh, now I am in a philosophic mood.
A sneak peek. Talking about the philosophic mind, yesterday I read an article about the place in Paris that was the most touristic one for 12 years in the beginning of the last century. Can you guess what is that?
No idea. What is it?
Not Notre Dame, not even Louvre, not even close. That was a Parisian morgue.
Oh,
That was the biggest attraction from 1905 to 1912-ish. That was a special place underground in the fortress, just next to the Notre Dame de Paris, where the lost bodies of the people who committed suicide or who jumped into the Seine river or who were just, somehow killed. So all these people were just taken from the river and put there so that the relatives could see them and recognize them and then to bury. But the funny thing that very quickly that became an attraction that held 40,000 people per month in Paris in the beginning of the last century.
crazy people.
Notre Dame de Paris didn't have such an attendance. Can you imagine? It's just because of the very same philosophic thing that you mentioned, because people were curious how they were imagining what would this person be. There were the clothes that this person possessed. Someone was without the, I don't know, limbs, without the hand, or was his head bashed or something like that, and they were like for 3 weeks after the death. A lot of people were just going there and having this philosophic moment to see themselves.
Yeah, to see themselves dead, to see themselves seen by others this way. Yeah, to see themselves not the way they are now, but the way they don't know they might look like.
Is it still this like fatal curiosity? That is so funny, because that's what actually drives a lot of people to try to see themselves from another perspective, maybe in somebody else's eyes.
It makes me think of one of my favorite stories or novels, rather novels, by Luigi Pirandello, an Italian writer, and the novel is called Il fu Mattia Pascal. So the person who once was called Mattia Pascal. In English, it's translated the late Mattia Pascal, while in Italian, it's called, in the original, it's called Il fu Mattia Pascal, where fu means once upon a time, long time ago. So it doesn't actually mean late directly, but the translator caught the point, because the story goes that this is a person who was not satisfied with his own life, and when somebody's dead drowned body was found in his town, he thought it was a good time to disappear. And so his family, his wife, his mother-in-law, kind of recognized him in that dead body, and he just disappeared. He went to other places. Somewhere on his way, he won a lottery, and so he said, okay, now I can live the way I want. He changed his name. That's why he was not yet the dead. Yeah, but the person who used to have that name and didn't have it any longer, he changed his name, he started his other life, etc. I won't spoil all the plot to someone who wants to read it later, but the idea that struck me there is actually an attempt to live another life. Okay, imagine you're dead. So this life is finished. Every moment you have a chance to start anew, and this is what he did. Then again, I won't tell what happens later. It's interesting. And,
no spoilers.
No spoilers anymore. But yeah, so to me, this is an idea of living, if not somebody else's life, your other variant of your life changed, not the same routines that you were dissatisfied with. Go and read, live and learn, and then what is that software called again?
Window swapping.
And go window swapping. So then somehow this creative way out of the character that I described can be perceived like, on the one hand, it's dissatisfaction, it's loss of sense of living, it's trying to reinvent yourself. And then a creative step, how he was recreating himself. And here somehow it makes me think of the difference between the fixed mindset. A person could just continue living his boring life and continue being dissatisfied. And on the contrary, a growth mindset that means something absolutely different. Could we talk more about it? What is it? What does it mean to have a growth mindset?
This is something that always fascinates me because it's not even a skill, it's not a feature, it's not a feature of character, it's not something that I can or I cannot, or I learn to do, right? As we discussed in our previous episodes, what the skills are. So here we have another word. We have the word mindset. It's just like you're setting yourself to see the things in a perspective, in a development, in using the challenges as your drivers, using the challenges as opportunities. You know, it's weird to see the world in black and white, or saying that somebody has a fixed mindset or another has a growth mindset. You can imagine a class of 20 people or 25 people sitting together, and you cannot say that 12 have fixed mindset and 15 have growth mindset, for example. No, it's not about that, but more or less how many everyday situations, everyday challenges can you see as opportunities? Can you see as the breakthrough? Can you see as moving forward? Proverb says it's not about falling 7 times, it's about standing up 8 times, which makes a person successful. So for me, this is the very same almost apocryphic way how to understand if the person believes in himself, in themselves or not. Because we're talking about dynamism, we're talking about the dynamics of learning and prioritizing lessons on mistakes. It's like you know this phrase, forget your mistakes, learn your lessons, remember your lessons. So yeah, to me this is something that the way person responds to the hardships, big or small, on criticism, on feedback, if the person is able to handle criticism and to see the opportunity to grow from the feedback, or if the person sees only, oh, I was criticized, maybe I'm doing something wrong and I'm just not worth it, instead of using this as where can I do better, where can I grow more, what can help me to develop, where it can bring me.
And so one thing that you mentioned is learn from your mistakes, perceive where you fell, for example, paradoxically, not as failure, but as opportunity. See opportunity in where someone else would see failure. And that would mean growth mindset. While for fixed mindset, what is characteristic is actually seeing failure in a mistake, seeing failure where otherwise you could have learned something.
Yeah, a challenge like something that is too much for you, like a criticism that is a tidal wave upon you, and then the person is not able to handle it emotionally. The funny thing that it doesn't really matter what is the age of the person. So a person can have the growth mindset 87 years of age, you know, just seeking for more and more. I read a story about someone's mother-in-law who changed passport, changed a place to live, and just went away from the city to the seaside because she said that in this way I can just swim every day, enjoy the promenade, you know, this strolling on the seaside, and spending the time with the young girls, not the peers, instead of, you know, taking care of my son. So things done. He's married. I'm washing my hands. Yeah. So this is a growth mindset anyway. So I want to grow. I want to live. I want to see what I can embrace, change, embracing change. You know, this is one of the biggest things that scared everybody in the COVID time, is that everybody was so scared of change, scared what to do. We don't know what to do. We don't know what it can bring. We are scared. It can bring the downturns. It can bring economic plummeting down, and so on. But the question is, if people can handle this opportunity to maybe change something, maybe change the vision, change the mindset, which is the most difficult things to change, basically.
Yeah, because it's mindset. It is
Exactly.
set. And I don't know the story behind what you're saying about the woman who decided to change something. And I would perceive this in two ways. One is what you say, wishing to do something that you haven't done before, not being not feeling the bond, yeah, and being free and feeling free to do whatever you want. That's one perspective. Another would be an escape. And it's important also to see what really lies behind this decision, whether it's freedom or escape. To me, it has got both layers and maybe even more. So each person should be very careful about the reasons behind their decisions, what to do, where to go. The same as you said about this COVID lockdown, there were lots of families who were feeling this disaster of staying together at home. And this is something that people normally escape from in the normality, in inverted commas, when they go to work, when they leave homes to go to the office, for instance. kids leave home to go to school, and then boom, and you have to stay together. Then what is there? Is that an opportunity? Does it give you energy to be together, to feel you are together, to give each other opportunities for growth? Or is it the thing you have to do and you have no way out? Then it puts you into a cage. So again, the same situation that can be sign of freedom and opportunity and an invitation to growth, and the same situation to someone else could be a cage and an invitation to fixed mindset.
You're absolutely right. I was most probably over ecstatic about giving the examples, but anyhow, I can try to formulate it as when you understand a challenge, a problem, as a failure, as a disaster, as a limit to what you can, as a limit to your ability, is when you see, okay, when one sees the situation as that the furthest I can go, I should probably stay here. Or I don't know what's ahead, I should probably be where I am. That's why we're talking about the comfort zone and going out of the comfort zone, which can be quite scary, which can be quite adventurous, but as well risky. The question is what we see is as a threat, as a limit, then it is a fixed mindset. If we see it as an opportunity, as a learning point, or an opportunity to train yourself, to adapt to something different. That's why we can talk about people who are who are changing jobs, countries, how they perceive this as, oh, I'm scared that something is going to happen, something is will be there and I will need to come back, I will be embarrassed, somebody else of course can do this but not me. So when we hear this in communication, that means that the person most probably not ready to step forward. Yeah, would that be a good wording? I'm not sure.
Not ready, you mean?
Not ready to move forward.
Yeah, I see. There is this contrast between, again, a phrase that characterizes growth mindset, which is I like to try new things, versus a phrase that defines fixed mindset and says I stick to what I know. And this is exactly what you're describing. I'd rather stick to what I know. It's safe here. I'm not ready to do this step forward. And then in contrast with, I like to try new things. If I really like to try new things, I won't be scared. I will just do this step forward. But then, yes, there are moments in which we are not ready. And then it's safer to stick to what I know, to be in my comfort zone. Not by chance is it comfort zone. It brings me comfort. It makes me feel good. There probably should be a balance between the two. Not always should everyone in any situation
Jump into
search
the
for
new.
novelty. Yeah, like if there is too much novelty, there is too much entropic component, which doesn't make it absolutely doable to live this life full of entropy. Like, no, I'm all for balance, and then yes, to say completely I've got growth mindset because I always strive for novelty. Well, not exactly. I like to try new things. Yeah, it's curiosity that we spoke about. It's desire to try new things. And if instead of trying new things when I feel this curiosity, I still prefer to stick to my routines, then I'm making the choice for the fixed mindset and not the growth mindset. I think there's
What's the opposite of growth?
stagnation.
It's interesting how fixed seems to be something that doesn't change.
Fixed also means repaired, working just good, if we think of words.
Growth is something that grows like
Goes
higher,
forward.
bigger, wider, larger, faster, stronger. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry. Now I'm singing again. I do apologize from our audience that it's the third time you hear me singing.
No, the fact is, most podcast platforms don't allow you to put music on your episodes. So, yeah, for copyright, we have to sing here by ourselves.
What else can I do?
You have to just send it.
Faster, harder, stronger. Yeah. But fixed, that means like um, somebody else fixed it. Do you see here, like as a past participle, some kind of a passivity, being
Yeah, it can
passive
feel
about it?
so. It can feel so.
And that is like again the question of responsibility. If you are ready to take the responsibility of something bigger, higher, harder, like a new job, or for example, if you are doing in your job, like for example, 3 different items, you're managing 3 units or teams or countries or I don't know, classes, and then your manager says, do you want the number 4? And then the question is like, am I enough? Is this too much? Do I have the resource? Do I want to go there? Do I have to challenge myself? Or there are so many questions, and I would say it would be unfair to judge people in such situations as fixed or a growth mindset. But the question is, do you remember that film when, like, should I get the promotion? A man asks his wife, and the wife answers, should I take the promotion? It's a lot of new responsibility. Oh, then don't take the promotion. But this is so much of the opportunity. Oh, then take the
Then do
promotion.
take it.
But this is too much of the responsibility. Then don't take it. But this is so much of opportunity. Take that now. Yeah, that was a funny thing.
I'm reading from the description of growth mindset now, and it
Yeah.
says, challenges help me to grow. So do take new responsibilities, do accept new challenges, then
Yeah,
it
but if
says
you want to
that
grow,
probably you're closer. If you want to grow, exactly. If you want to grow. If not, I don't like to be challenged is a phrase describing a person sticking rather to a fixed mindset. But now the more we talk about it, the more I see this as a continuum and not as extremes, not as
yeah, so
opposites.
what I was trying to understand is like one is growing and one is not stagnating, but not growing. Yeah, so just like having the fixed comfort zone box or I don't know, swamp, whatever you call it.
I don't think it can work possibly in the changing world, and the world is changing. You
Obviously.
cannot just stick to this comfort zone forever.
Do you remember Alice from the Wonderland?
Oh, yeah.
If you want to stay in the same place, you need to run very fast. If you want to go move forward, you need to run even faster.
Alice in Wonderland is just wonderful because, yeah, expressing yourself in front of a drug addict and then staying sane.
Yeah, so we talked already about the how the people with growth mindset see the challenges as something to avoid or something to embrace. I think here it is like readiness in the word embrace, and avoid is just like rejecting. if challenges could reveal that a person is lacking some experience, some skill, I'm scared that I'm not enough, I'm scared I cannot do it. That would be a fixed mindset. And if the challenges are perceived as an opportunity to grow, as in possibility to move forward, the very chance to try and to develop, then we can see that the challenges give the people with the fixed mindset a tendency to give up easily, tendency to give up easily. While the people who
Pretty
are
much
more
this.
persistent, they develop this experience. Yeah.
Of overcoming, of being consistent in pursuing your aim. And on this way, there is also another important issue, such as feedback and how people react to feedback. Because once I draw something and my teacher, colleague, friend, someone says it's not good enough, do I give up in this case because this feedback was negative? Or do I continue? Do I practice? Do I ask for more constructive feedback? Do I ask what could be improved instead of just giving up and saying, okay, someone said I can't do it, so I won't try anymore? And this also puts me on some point on this continuum, seeing how I react to feedback and what this feedback can bring me as an actor, as a person doing something, trying to do something, trying to achieve the goals, and how important other people's opinions are, and how can I use other people's feedback, opinions, evaluation, praise, criticism on my way to perfection.
To perfection, that already
Of
sounds...
course.
That sounds scary.
Does it? Yeah, as we said previously, better done than perfect. But then on our way to perfection, we rather do something than give up.
Yeah. The feedback is somehow very dependent on the culture. So I'm not talking only about countries. I'm not talking about generations, or only on, I don't know, the way women or men perceive the feedback, or the culture. I mean, cultural identity that consists of the gender, religion, background, historical, social, economical, country, like all of those things. And the problem is that feedback is sometimes seen as the criticism, as something only negative. And it's only now, like for the last, 25, 30 years, people are starting to learn how to give feedback, to have the theories, to have the master classes, webinars, I don't know, courses on giving feedback. Okay, let's talk about the response, not only criticism, just a response, not necessarily negative. If the person...
Yeah, really feedback to what another person is doing.
Yeah, so if the person gets defensive, that's already a good thing to start thinking maybe I should try to get it, to take it less personal and more like a possibility to identify the areas where to improve, where, how to make it useful, how to make it a point to grow, right? This...
Rather than a point to give up. Exactly.
Rather
So
than
this
a point to give up. Yeah, because that's the very moment when you hear it, you make a decision in your head. Right? Do I need to fight, or freeze. Fight, flight, freeze. And if you decide to fight back, no, not even fight back, but to get defensive about why you're telling this to me. Why am I the only one to be told this?
Look at yourself.
Look at yourself. Look at Alex, he didn't do this at all. Or
who are you to say this to me?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and like getting really defensive because you take it personally.
Another one which I think we didn't mention, not only who are you to say this to me, or look at yourself, or Alex did something even worse, and also I only spent 10 minutes and not 40 for doing this. Self-defense, meaning I would have done better if I had spent more time. Yeah, okay, but this is not relevant.
Well, why didn't you?
Yeah, or why didn't you? It's not relevant at all. Like if I say, look, the sound on this podcast leaves much to be desired. And you reply, but I didn't even edit it. Yeah, okay, but how is it relevant to the fact the sound is bad? You should have spent more time on doing the task, or you should have cared more, etc. And the fact of saying, but I only, and then defense, is just another way of reacting improperly to feedback.
Yeah, this setting back and blaming others is such a good excuse to get discouraged. Oh, I didn't do this exercise because I didn't understand where to get the audio, or what to do, or I didn't understand the instructions, so I decided not to do it. And now you have the excuse that something discouraged you, somebody else did something wrong, and now you have all the excuse not to do anything. That's a very good sign that something should be fixed.
Aha, okay. And when you fix the fixed, yeah, here it's interesting. When you fix the fixed, do you get growth?
I think you get out of the comfort zone first. Either you sink or think.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's good.
We can make it as our next
quote.
Wisdom quote.
Next quote. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wisdom quotes are also a good way to get a quick checkup on whether I agree or disagree with this. How does that work for me? How do I perceive this phrase? And when I read a quote, I react in a certain way. And it can also be significant to me in like understanding, okay, if I react like this, what does it say to me about myself?
Here we come to the awareness point. Also. And this is a very important thing. Nevertheless, we were talking about the awareness a couple of episodes ago. It's the question between the me perspective, I, me, and myself, or the we perspective, or the third person perspective, or all of us perspective. So when person starts thinking in these categories, I think that the feedback is perceived as something useful, something to improve, something to work harder next time, something not to be self-blaming, but a reason to take a time and meditate upon it, contemplate what, when, how, and why can be done different. It's interesting that, again, the way you formulate feedback either provokes setbacks, too many backs, no? Or pushes you forward.
Not by chance, I think.
Not by chance at all. Yeah. But the question is how to move forward, how to make the breakthrough, how to collaborate with people, how to facilitate the process. This is something that we have right now a lot, like the boom of the facilitation, collaboration, cooperation, and so on, because people understand that the best working unit is a team which wants to be there, which desires to be together, and wants to achieve each particular, like any particular goal, but together, supportive growing, you see, like when you understand that by giving support, by giving feedback, somebody supports you. That's completely different setting or mindset.
I was thinking while you were describing this, I was thinking whether teamwork or group work wasn't something that prevents staying too long in the comfort zone. In a team, you usually tend to overcome the limits and to go out. Like, what do we do with friends when we meet? We go out. And this going out together is at the same time going out of the box of fixed mindset. You don't normally stay in the same comfort zone together with other people. You motivate one another, and then you tend to leave this comfort zone faster and with support. So it's not that stressful or frightening or frustrating. So together you can do more on the way along this continuum from fixed to growth mindset. Thank you for listening to this bonus episode. If you share Live and Learn philosophy, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all the major social media, comment, and spread the word about this podcast so that more people could get their weekly portion of growth mindset content. Live and learn.